Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Live with Lloyd. Okay. As you see, I have a beautiful young lady that we're going to be talking with in just a few moments. We're going to be talking about financial education to why we are starving in the midst of plenty, and yet money is abundant in every way, shape, or form. And all you have to do is be creative and understand the power of wealth. And it was because I met this young lady that it gave me an idea. And then she gave me a book too. I'm going to show you the book too in a moment. That I began to look at money totally different. And so I'm going to have that. I'm going to be sharing that with you, and the book that she gave me, and maybe the book will be available for you too. I know she was giving them out at the moment, but in the meantime, though, we are going to take a look at the forecast for today. Today is June the 20th, a Monday, 2022. All those twos are lined up today. The sun is still in Gemini, although we'll go into Cancer at some point tomorrow. The moon is in Pisces, which will go into Aries late tonight at a little after 11. It is a 3 universal month, a 6 universal week, a 5 universal day. So if you happen to be a Cancer, a Gemini, a Virgo, or Cancer, like my guest is coming on, or if you're born on the 2nd to 5th, the 11th to 14th, the 20th, 23rd, 29th of any month, this is a day. So Live with Lloyd, with the joy of numerology is the joy of learning and enlightenment. So please, if you really like it, please, share it, talk about it, let people know, and more importantly, subscribe. I'm finally getting close to a year to understanding the importance of letting people know to like it or share it, but more importantly, to subscribe to it. All righty. So for those of you who are doing so, I want to thank you. I notice sometimes when I go to the comment section, others are chiming in to say, please subscribe or share or like. And I really appreciate that, because oftentimes I will forget. So I'm going to try to be more conscious of it in the future. But in the meantime, I want us to go to my distinguished guest, who will be joining us in just a moment. Okay. And she happens to be Jana B. Woodhouse. Here we go. Jana, how are
Hey,
you? How you doing, dear?
I am blessed and highly favored. And again, this is such an honor to be on your show.
And you know what's happening? I've been honored to be on your show on 2 or 3 occasions. So it's
Yes,
always nice to return the favor.
thank you so much.
We seem to look at money in a way that we think because we got a couple of dollars in our pocket or we can pay a few bills, but that's not where the real wealth it appears to be in terms of understanding. And in fact, I have there was a piece that I had saw where it said that people, teenagers especially, know nothing about financial investments.
That's true. It's
And
approximately 76% of Americans are totally financially illiterate, and 66% don't understand the simple basics of compound interest, how to make your money grow or how to make your money work for you.
yeah, because they said the more bad news was out for the youngsters, and they said the younger generation have a limited understanding of money. So we're
Yeah.
not even talking about adults that you just quoted.
No, because the problem is the adults don't know either. So how
That
are they
makes
teaching
sense.
the children? If you don't know and you're not open enough to just say, we have some very bad habits with our children. We have a tendency not to teach them about money. We don't talk about money at the dinner table. Shoot, we don't even go to the dinner table. uh, you know
That is true.
so
That is
it's
very
one of
true.
those things that, how do you expect children to learn if no one's teaching? The schools do not teach them. There is approximately, I think they say there's 21 schools in this country that make it mandatory for financial literacy to be taught at the high school level. And it's not even beneficial because they're teaching them how to balance a checkbook. Now, how many people use a checkbook? I mean,
Well,
really?
well, you know what's interesting? When I was looking at the latest stats, it says only 11 states in the United States requires financial literacy as a high school graduation requirement.
Yes.
Out
Yes.
of 50 states, only 11 states. I got a feeling New York is not one of them, too,
New
dear.
York is not one, and it's being the metropolitan financial capital of the world. And the real sad part is for the United States itself. There's only for the United States ranks worldwide 14 in the world as far as financial literacy is concerned. So, okay, we're supposed to be able to have all this financial information here, and we don't have it. They don't know. People don't know. We're truly a country of lack of financial literacy, and no one's trying to make a difference. Well, that's not true, because that's what I'm doing.
Well, you know, it's interesting you said that because also in this piece, it says only 34% reported regularly discussing the topics with their parents. Like
That's
you
it.
said, the parents don't even discuss it with the youngsters or the teenagers. So how in the world are youngsters and teenagers going to know other than, well, because I know the whole thing traditionally in our communities at one time is you go to school, you get a good education, and you get a job. That was it.
Yeah,
That
we
was
lied
like
to
the
the kids.
motto.
We lied, because if you think about what financial literacy is about, and people who are going to school, they get a good education, but think about what they get as what I call the journey of the broke. You get a job, and you get the job, you work 30 years on that job, and you probably will retire with half the money that you made on that job in a year. So that's what's called a pension. Pensions are usually only 50% of what you earn. Social Security for these young people are non existence, probably. So, what do you expect them to do? And then I'm thankful to Mr. Obama for making it now, that the credit card companies are not to come to the high schools when they graduate, because they were going to the high schools to get credit cards, give them credit cards. Well, if you don't understand how money works, and someone gives you a $500 or $1,000 credit card, you go to spend it. You're not realizing
Right away.
you
Right
got to pay
away.
it back.
And not only that, doesn't it affect your credit score or something like that they call it?
Definitely. And in our community, and I'm putting out a charge to our community, parents, stop using the children's social security number for the electricity bill, for the cable bill. Stop using
Excuse
it.
me, what are you talking about? What do you mean?
So that means that, okay, mom and pa then destroyed their credit. So they can't get the electricity turned on, they can't get the cable turned on because they have messed up their credit. So what they do is take Junior's social security card number and get the electricity and stuff turned on. But if they
You,
don't pay that off, then Junior's information is also destroyed. And we do
Jana,
that a lot in our community.
what you're telling me is that seriously, that you cannot get a credit, I mean, electricity or cable if you don't have the proper credit, or how did you just put that? Seriously?
That's right. They check your credit. They check your credit to move into an apartment.
That I
They,
know.
yeah, they check your credit to get Con Edison turned on. They
I do
check
not
your
know
credit,
that.
so that if you done messed up your credit, and here comes your child, you got, okay, Junior's credit, or little sis's credit is good because she don't have any, and so they use
Wow.
that instead. And I have seen that a many a time, and it's wrong. Don't mess up theirs just because you messed up yours.
Well, let me ask you this then. Since I was not aware like that, or maybe because I've had electricity so long, I have no idea. But if a parent or an individual has messed up their credit to deny them electricity or cable, how then do they get it straight without using their children, for example? Does that make
Well,
sense?
what they do is that they need to see a good credit doctor or a financial advisor. Um, some of the stuff can be straightened out, but we need to really get to everyone before they mess it up. Be careful about it. A lot of people think, well, credit is credit is credit. It doesn't matter. No, you can't, even if you got bad credit, you can't even get a job sometimes because they check your credit report.
Really?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, now cable, I can understand if you ain't got credit, so you can't watch TV for a minute, so you probably watch something live stream on your phone. But electricity, doesn't that relate to lights and doesn't that relate to your gas to cook and keep the refrigerator going?
Don't mess
No?
up your stuff. Don't mess up your credit. But if you have messed it up, there's ways to correct it. You have to see someone like we have Tyrone Glover, that's part of the Soul City Network. He does a show every Tuesday and talks about, leverage your credit, how to stop messing it up. We need to learn these things. This is part of learning how money works.
On average, I think the credit scores goes from a low 200 up into about 8 or 900. Is
Yes,
that
up to
correct?
900. And the average American right now is running somewhere around about 540.
Okay, now, when you say the average American, is that the average Black American? I
No,
got
that's all of
you.
America. There's a whole bunch of messed up people. But
Really?
as Black people, we need to know how money works. We've got the separation between the two worlds. We either have no credit or we don't use the credit to the max. We've got to find an equilibrium, and that's why we shy away from talking to financial industry people, but that's who we need. It's just like you go to the doctor and get a checkup every year. Well, then you should be able to go to a financial advisor, an educator, and get a checkup every year to where you're at. You are allowed in this country, you're allowed once a year to get a free credit report. Now, you got to be careful when you go online because if you just search free credit report, you're going to get a bunch of folks asking you for money. Don't do that. It's the National Free Credit Report. You can get that once a year for free. The United States provides it for you.
Okay, now, should they go again for those where it can get where it's free without being charged
Right. I'm
money to
just
do it?
going to click a moment on my own site just to see. It's the National Free Credit Report. If you Google it, let's see if I can bring up the site. Free credit. Just give me, yeah, National Free Credit. Because if you just put free credit report, uh, the thieves out here are going to come at you, and that's not good. I'm trying to see if I can get it, and there it is. It is the
Mhm.
www.annualcreditreport.com. Annualcreditreport.com.
And when they go there, they can then what they put in their social to
They'll
find out what their
they'll It's a
status is.
site that they put their name, their date of birth, all the stuff that usually it takes to find out who you are.
Mhm.
We're not known by our names. We're really known by our date of birth and our social security number. And so you put that in, it'll ask you questions like, did you have a credit card with such and such company? Or did you have a mortgage with such and such? And it's a yes or no. And then once they do that, they compile it and they bring up your credit report. Now they're not going to give you the score that they charge. I think it's like $7, but you don't
But
really
that's
need.
no big deal compared
No,
to what others cost you $7.
that's it. So you can do that and take a look at what you're really looking at as far as a credit report. What's on there? You see, we focus, and we've been taught to focus on the score. It's not the score, it's what's on the report. It's like, if the doctor says you have a blood pressure of 120 over 60, well, that's nice, but you got to find out what else is going on. Are there things on your credit report that shouldn't be there? When we have a
Uh-huh.
situation with credit, what also comes up is that we only look at, oh, I got a score of this. But if you have stuff on your credit report that doesn't belong to, that there was a student loan that you paid a long time ago, or there's a credit card, and we have to be careful when we talk to people about our credit, because if you have a dispute, which means that there's a credit company that is sold, they done sold your credit to someone else. Okay. If they've done, then there's been an agreement. You don't have to pay that bill again. But if you talk to a creditor, now you done started the cycle again. And you're going to have to, you got to be careful when you're trying to straighten out your credit, you need to be very careful and talk to a professional so that you can clean it up.
So, in other words, if you're at a point where you've already cleared it and you don't know what to do, they'll start the cycle all over again. Is that what
They
you're saying?
will. They will start to do things like, for example, I know a person who had way back when they had the Nobody Beats the Wiz,
Oh, yeah.
and so they had a credit card. Well, the Wiz went bankrupt, and so therefore all those credit debts were killed. They were done. No collecting, but there was someone who went and paid for that debt. So they bought the credit, the credit, the debt from the Wiz, and gave them like 10 cents on a dollar. So the Wiz got them, and now they're going to go and try to collect. And to do that, they got the list of the people that owed, and they can go and try to talk to you, but you should not talk to them. The debt has been settled. The other thing is that we have to be careful. If you have going to negotiate the credit, they do negotiation. If you're
Mhm.
going to negotiate, you've got to negotiate one more thing. If you don't remember anything else I said, you're going to have to negotiate them not giving you a 1099-C. It's a cancellation of debt. If you cancel debt, that becomes income for you because the company is writing it off as a debt for them. They're writing off. So if someone's writing it off, someone has to pay the taxes on it. So a cancellation of debt may cause you to have to pay a income tax on it. If you don't
Wow.
if you don't negotiate right, you have to negotiate. You have to know what you're doing, and that your tax person would also, your tax consultant or accountant would be able to maybe help you a little bit, especially if you've lost your job and you're basically on the destitute side, then that can get canceled. But if not, for example, foreclosure. I had one client that had a foreclosure to the tune of $550,000, and the bank gave them a 1099-C, as in can, for the $550,000. So that was supposed to go on their taxes. Of course, the proper accountant or tax preparer will be able to null and void it. But because it's probably something if they couldn't pay the mortgage, they can't pay the $550,000. But someone has to know what to do, or they wind up in great debt.
So, and so you're saying, in addition to the indebtedness, if they go for the 1099-C as in can or con, okay, as I call it, all right, that
Yes.
they're going to wind up paying the taxes too?
Yes, they have to pay the taxes on that income because the bank is charging it off. So they're writing it off. So someone has to pay the taxes on that income that they didn't get. So that's where they have to pay the taxes on it. So that's added to your regular income. That can throw you into madness or into bankruptcy. You have to
Wow.
be careful. This is why knowing how money works is so important. No one teaches this.
Well, I
Most,
see why they don't teach it.
oh yes,
So
because they
you
keep you
stay
in
in a
bondage.
That's why I was saying bringing you on. I was going to say that really in a lot of our Black communities, ignorance is a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Without a doubt. And we have to be careful. We were talking, and you were mentioning about children and understanding, money. How can they understand money when they haven't been taught it? But also some of the simple things that we do as adults around them. Like I remember I had a client come in and we did a full financial plan, and her son was with us in the room, 8-year old at the time. Now he's probably an adult since then, but he's sitting there. And when his mother left out to go to the restroom, I asked him, I said, "So, did you learn something today? Did you get something out of what you?" He says, "I just don't get it." And so I said, "What you don't get? You didn't understand what I was talking about?" He says, "No, I don't understand why I have to learn this when there's a money card. When I get 18, I'm going to have a money card." So I was like, "A money card. So when his mother came back in, I said, "He's talking about a money card. What is this money card?" So she turned to him and said, "What's the money card, dear?" And he said, as an 8-year-old can look at us and say, like, "You don't know what you're doing." So he went in her purse and got the ATM card. That's the money card in their eyes. Because what do we do in front of our children? We say, "Oh, stop 1 minute. I got to go and get some money out of the bank." And you pull out that card. Children are looking at you. So he feels when he gets 18, he's going to get one of these cards, and you go to the bank, you put it
And
in, you
just
get the
stick it
money out.
in and just get it out.
Forgot about that step. Mom and dad have to earn that money, and the company puts that money in the bank account. But that step they don't see, you see. And so we have to be careful to inform our children how this system works. If not, they're going to tell you they're going to get 18 and they're supposed to get a money card.
I want to go to the other side of the extreme with a person who has a lot of money, such as singing performer Drake.
Okay.
And there was a piece that came out that said that he had been losing millions of dollars lately, and what choices is he's making that he is spending, that he is sending so much money down the drain. And
Mm-hmm.
it says that what happens is he lost $550,000 um, on some game, whatever it was. It was, I mean, it just incredible. And he lost it on a UFT 274 bet in May, five
Lord
hundred and
have
fifty
mercy.
thousand dollars. Then, even more, it said he came after that and he lost an additional 275,000 UFC bet loss back in March. What is a UFC?
I'm trying to find out what that is right now. Or was it an NFT? But I'll just
No,
check.
it just said UFC.
U
500 and 550,000 he
UFC.
lost in May. Then he lost another $275,000 back in March when he put his money on something George.
Oh, it's the Ultimate Fighting Championship.
Really?
He's betting.
On
He's gambling.
sports. Well, he done lost 550,000 in May. He lost another 275,000 back in March.
He's gambling.
Then then it says he then lost another 230,000 reflected on an Instagram story he had posted at the time. And then here's the kicker though.
Mm-hmm.
They says, and just a few days ago, because this came out somewhere in late May, June. It says now just a few days ago, the rapper reportedly lost a massive $20 million. Okay. Now it says on what this time? It says it was on an on-let roulette game, according to Gambling News. And it says, what's the big lesson? Look, you don't need to be a business degree or years of investing, even though Drake is obviously a successful, I don't care how successful, to lose $20 million and then
And the thing
another
is,
230,000 in Can you explain that to me, Jana Woodhouse? B Woodhouse?
It is one of those situations of where people really, number one, they've got a windfall. They think money's going to last forever. And therefore, the knowledge of putting money away, it's like um, burning it. They think, if it goes away, it's going to come back again. Never thinking that there's a time that they won't do it or make it. It'll always be there. That kind of mentality is not a safe one, only because, yeah, it probably is going to keep coming in. But one day you're going to get old, and God forbid something to happen that you can't talk, sing, create music, or your fan base decreases and goes down. What are you doing with you have your safe money, and then you have the money that you're going to go gamble with. And so a lot of times people, especially in his status, doesn't have, or he's not listening to the financial advice that he should have. I know he has property, that I know. He's bought and got a house that has its own basketball court and all of that. And some of that really bothers me, because they're the images that our children, and not only our children but our adults, are looking at and wanting to have, you know. But when I remember I was doing some advice for a celeb, technically, and he had a total of 22 motorcycles. And I said,
Really?
why? I was like, why? And he said, because he liked them and he liked to be able to drive, different ones. And I got that. But the thing is that, at this stage now, years later, same celeb is still doing a lot of off the cuff movies, TV shows, trying to make it again. And he's had like 3 wives and divorces that took him to the cleaners. All that stuff needs to be set aside. And a lot of times they don't have the proper financial advisor. And I will say this, in our community, because we don't know any better, we trust folks that we think their ice is a little better than the ones that we look like.
Yeah, I got you. I got
Yeah.
you. You still think that their ice is sweeter, their sugar.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they don't listen, or they don't think we know what we're doing as financial advisors or as financial educators. I purposely take on the title of financial educator, because I can't advise you till I educate you and get that information into your mind, your soul, and your spirit, so that you won't just go off and do some crazy stuff. Now, if you're losing, $200 million at one time, or $20 million, or any million at a time, it better be that you have everything else. These are the same people that need to know about trust, how to know about the living benefit of life insurance, to
Mhm.
be able to put away money and let it grow by itself, that you will live off of that money. If you're making right now $1 million every year or so, then you should be able to have investments that produce that same amount for you, and hopefully tax free. Because when you have a loss like what he just encountered, IRS says that's really great, but they will only let you write off
It's so much.
$3,000 of it every year. You'll be writing off till the time
Are
you die.
you serious?
Oh
You mean
yeah,
that 20 million, the most they'll let him write off is only 3 grand? And
every
he
year.
must spend 20
So he'll
million?
be writing for when his children's children's children. Yeah, that's the maximum. Now, if you make a profit, you can write your profit against that loss. But for the most part, if you have a loss, you're only going to be able to claim $3,000 every year. So you got
Well,
to think.
obviously, he is not receiving it because the article went on to say, I told rappers a million times, don't waste your money on stupid stuff. The
Yes,
cars, the jewelry, in Drake's case, betting and gambling. On the other hand, the smart thing to do with all that rap money would be to invest it in a cash flowing assets. I think
that's
that's basically what you were just saying.
that's what I'm saying.
Because what do you know, Yana B. Woodhouse? Okay.
That's it. That's exactly what I'm saying, is that you have to have a strategy. I'm not saying that you can't have fun, but that's a bit excessive, you know. And to put down that kind of money And the only thing that IRS will allow you to do is to write your losses against your winnings. So if you didn't win anything, you only going to get that $3,000 write off every year.
There
And
was
go ahead.
no, there was another case of a rapper. I ain't going to name him, but he was trying to sell a mansion with 15 rooms and couldn't sell it.
Mm-mm.
Why would a single individual, he wasn't married, had a family, just a single individual trying to sell a mansion with 15 rooms that couldn't get and couldn't sell it?
No,
What is the point to me? I mean,
it's
am I
somebody.
missing something?
No, what is happening is that they're getting the wrong advice, and again, they don't know how money works, and they're listening to folks who they think they know what they're talking about. They may be talking to, like, they may have their lawyer, because everybody who's making money, I don't care the way you make a dollar or you make a million trillion dollars or a sectillion, which is 21 zeros behind the, I love to talk numbers. So it's 21 zeros behind the digit. I don't care what you are, you need to have a plan, or you're planning to fail. And the thing is, that's how we wind up with folks like Fred, what was that? His Red Fox, Peebo Bryson, Tony Braxton, not knowing the gamut of what happens. People say, well, I'm going to take over my own promotion. Well, you need to have promotion insurance, because if not, you'll be paying those people who promote it. You're going to be, that's what happened to Tony Braxton. You gotta, it's not, and then the taxes. You've got to make sure that you've got your taxes taken care of. I happen to know, and I'm watching because this has been over 20 years. I know one artist, and he was working with an accounting firm, and they were not paying his taxes, his quarterlies. But on the top of that, they put no money away for his retirement, not a dime. And I was like, okay, let's see. Hopefully he got a little wise, because there are some like LeBron James who is running different businesses and putting money in different places so that he can create.
And Shaquille O'Neal is doing the same
That's
thing
right,
too.
a
Yeah.
legacy. Create the legacy, because your lifespan in making a considerable amount of money is a real considerable short period. So and you don't have to be a millionaire to do it. If there's a inside the book, the How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker book. In that book, it talks about the cost of waiting, and if those that want to be a millionaire, if you want to be a millionaire and you are in your 20s, you only have to put away approximately, because interest rates are different, but you only need to put away maybe $150 a month till you get to your 60s. You put that away, turn around, you got $1 million. Okay. A
That's
million is not
incredible.
going to solve all problems, but it sure is a lot better than having nothing. But you do that same thing for someone who's in their 50s, they have to put away a whole lot more, like to the tune of $3,000 to $4,000 a month, which most of them don't have that. So therefore,
Wow.
their dream of
Wow.
$1 million is gone. The only way that we think as a people, and we got to stop this in our community, we think we're going to hit the number, and they got to go see Lloyd to make sure that he give them the right number.
You better believe it.
And then they got to stay with that number, okay? Or they're going to have to put some money away, and a lot of times people don't put enough away. And right now is a perfect time for people to really do things in the market. Need to sit down with a financial advisor to do it, but they need to put money in. Don't run away from the market, because if you thought about what happened to us in 2008, the market crashed. We had the crashing of the market, the bond market, the house market, everything went down. But look where we mounted up to. And the market in today's world, before this next issue came up, we were up like by 127%. Now, what if you had stayed back there when it dropped and didn't pulled all your money out and put it up under the mattress? You'd have nothing. And now we have inflation, which is buying power is up to 8%, but we're not making 8% on our dollars, on our money. So we got to do stuff. We got work to do.
Well, let me ask you this. In Congress, they says, okay, we will raise the minimum wage from 15 to $20 in the next 3, 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
theoretically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is the price of milk and the price of eggs going to be the same price
No,
3 years from there?
it's not now. So therefore, if you go to, and we all experienced that over this past year. You go to the market, you might for the family groceries spend $200. Well, now you got to spend 300 to get the same amount. Eggs, you know, uh, transportation, everything. And look at gas. Lord have mercy. That's why a lot of people now are walking. It's healthier for them, but it's
Yeah.
the world right now. You've got to set a budget for yourself. You have to have an emergency fund. In the book, it talks about the 7 money milestones. You have to have, do you have insurance that, we got some nutsy stuff going on in our communities now. So we have to protect ourselves. We do not need to be passing the hat when we lose a family member, and that
Hmm.
they can't live the same way, that the children won't be able to stay in the home that they were raised in. All that stuff we need to get our
I've heard of that too. I've heard of things like that.
yes, we
Good.
have to get our financial houses in order. And it's not doing it overnight, but it is putting away stuff that you can take care of and have fun at it. But put some money away. Even, my mom used to say, you made $1, save 10 cents. Before you know it, that there's a little rule that's on the internet. Save $1 for every week in the year. So if you do that, you'll wind up at the end of the year with $1,378. Well, that's not a lot, but you do that 10 times, you got over $13,000. So
Yeah.
you can do these things, and we've got to look at our interest rates. There's a thing called the rule of 72. And I love
Yes, that's in that book you gave me.
that's right. Einstein,
That book that you gave me really changed the way I start looking at finances. And I'm going
that's
to
what
show
it's
that book.
supposed to do.
I'm going to show that book on the screen too. But I
Okay.
want to ask you this too. In the case of Michael Jackson, with all of the money he made, and Prince with all the money he made and owning of rights to his music and stuff, they both died without a will.
Yes.
Don't that have some financial impact on a
It
person
does,
also?
because every dime, first of all, wherever you have in your finances, such as your pension, your bank accounts, you need to put a beneficiary on it. Don't just say it's going to my estate, because at that point, what happens is that um, your money will go to the state to be probated. So the courts go in and determine who has the right to get your money. Now it's either you tell them or you let the court do it. Now the court
And
don't
the
know
court's going to overrule everything.
if you don't have it in writing. That's your will. So you not only need your will, but you also need your financial power of attorney. If you have children who are over the age of 18, and we don't see them as adults, but the courts see them as adults, you have to have rights and have them sign off where you get the power to be in the room, a HIPAA form, those things that will allow you, if something happens to them, that you can be in the room. Because once they're 18, you have no rights. You don't even have the right to go to their school and ask for their grades. They are adults. They're
Once they reach 18.
That's right. They are an adult. That you paying them the school's uh, tuition, but you can't find any information out. So what's going on? You have to get that paperwork done to make sure that you can get information. I had a case. This was one of the people stood up in my one of my meetings. I do presentations to educate folks, and the woman stood up and said that yes, you do have to. She says, I had a son. My son was in school upstate, and I felt something wasn't right. And I asked him, was he doing okay? He said yes. Well, lo and behold, he wasn't doing okay. He was having a nervous breakdown, and she couldn't even take him to the hospital.
Are you serious?
Yes, because he's an adult. And so she had to get papers to dub him incompetent to get him some help. So see, that's the crazy stuff parents don't know. Even to get his grades, if he's in class, the school will tell you, we can't talk to you. He's an adult. He has rights. So
Question.
mhm.
If a person is, let's say a person says, well, listen, I'm only making 30, 40,000 a year. Don't they still need a will?
Oh, definitely. Because what you
Because
do,
they figure they're not making millions like a Drake or some other celebrity or whatever the case
it
is.
doesn't matter. It's where if they I tell folks, close your eyes, pretend you have left this world. Now look around you, and where does everything go? Who gets what? What do you want done? What does your funeral look like? You need to be able to put that in your will. Then there's another situation, not dying. What about the fact that you just can't talk? You can't talk for yourself. There's a
That's a
thing
health
called,
property or
it's
something,
a
right?
living will.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you need to have a living will to say, these are the things that I would like done. There's also a do not resuscitate, a health directive. You have to have all these things in place because if you don't do it, the court will do it for you.
And that means the individual don't have too much choice about what is said about their loved ones.
There
In
you
fact,
go.
AOC in the politician in Washington,
Yes,
it made a reference about when her father died, he died without a will, which means died intestate, and they gave her a hard way to go.
they will. And the thing is that when you die, the vultures come. As sweet as they can all be family members and love you, they show up and they want to know what can they get. So you have to put it in writing. And even I say, even to the extent of writing your own obituary, because everybody got to get it wrong also. Got you going places where you don't weren't ever, So put your affairs in order. And that's whether you've got two nickels to rub together or you've got trillions of dollars to deal with. You need to have, and like you said, Prince, he was Jehovah's Witness. Matter of fact, so was Michael. They
Yes,
just
they
don't,
were. I
yeah, they
hadn't even
don't,
thought of that. They both were.
yeah, they don't believe in putting wills together. And I say that putting a will together is not a religion. It's just a necessity. You don't, you don't have to believe in it. You just have to do it. Because if not, I have a client right now. It was one account that had no beneficiary on it. It has been 8 years. We've been trying to get this account dispersed. And the reason being, it had no beneficiaries. The courts have to identify who has the rights. They have to take months to determine that there's nobody else eligible. And that can be a cousin of a cousin of a cousin of a cousin, you know. So all of that has to be done. And that money's just sitting there doing absolutely nothing, not growing, not doing anything. And then it not just can be a few years, it can be years and years and years. So it doesn't take years and years for you to get your assets in order and get your finances in order. It doesn't.
Now, what about this notion of life insurance? I once, in my early days after school, sold life insurance. And
Hmm.
people think if you give them life insurance, they're going to die the next day.
I
Not
tell folks
understanding why is that misunderstanding like that?
it's some kind of fallacy that we've had over the ages, but that's also when life insurance was only used for death. There,
Burial insurance, they call it at
right.
the time.
Last final expenses. And that's one of the biggest fallacies out here is that life insurance is just for dying. Um, of course, if we wait till the nth degree and we're up there in age, we'll see things like, well, Alice Trebek used to have, the colonial, which I do want to call attention to this community to know. If you read the fine print, he says that you pay 99 cents for a policy. That's 99 cents for every thousand. So it's going to cost you a whole lot. Yes, it's going to cost more. Pause the TV and read the little white print under there. So it's not 99 cents so that you can get $10,000 worth of coverage. No, it's going to be 10 times that per month. So that's like $9.99 per month.
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's how that works. That's one fallacy that needs to be changed. But the other thing is, if you put money into a life insurance policy when you're young and healthy, you pay less for the insurance, to the extent that at some point you can stop paying on that insurance and let it pay for itself. You can draw money out of what's called the cash value if it's a living benefit life insurance. You can draw cash value out of it. You can borrow from yourself and not pay taxes on it. It's like now some places are talking about you're being your own bank because you're putting all your money in, letting it build tax deferred, which means that you don't pay taxes while it's growing, and you're eligible to take the money out tax free.
Versus like a 401k or some other.
Right, 401k, you're going to pay taxes when
Yeah, yeah.
it's like, I like to liken that story to the difference between a farmer. Does the farmer want to pay taxes on the seed, or do they want to pay taxes on the harvest? They want to pay taxes on the seed because it's less. But what we do with a 401k plan or 403b, 457, your pensions and things, we pay taxes after it's time to take money out. And we don't pay taxes on it while it's being put in. That means that at the end of the day, when you get ready to retire, do you honestly think that you're going to pay more taxes when you get older or less? Well, talk to the folks who've just retired because they're paying a lot more. Plus, their Social Security is taxable to them. So, you want to set yourself up and at least talk to a financial advisor. And there are plenty out here, especially from my office, that will sit with you free 99.
Well, first of all, I want to put on the screen the book you gave one day when I was at your office earlier this year
Mm-hmm.
that
That's
changed
it.
the way I look at money. That
Yeah, those are two of my
changed my
partners
whole
wrote that.
mindset.
Yes,
And I don't know whether you still give these books out. I know
I
they're available
do.
on Amazon.
Yes, I do. You can go on Amazon and pay $20, but that's not a financial wise move. You can get it free 99 from me. Just contact my office or go to my email and let me know you want the book and we will send it out to you. There
And
we
there's your
go.
information right there.
That's it. So copy that and then let us know. Email me now. If you email, you got to send me your address because a lot of people say, I want the book. And then have to send back, say, I need your email. I need your address because the address is this is a physical book. I got
I
to
read every page of this book. Every
Excellent.
page.
Excellent.
Every page. And
And the
I
thing
was
is,
just blown
what the thing
about
is, I
what I
want to
thought of money. Go ahead. I'm so
yeah,
sorry.
I just want to share with everyone why we say stop being a sucker. If you go into the bank and you look to the left and you look to the right, there's lollipops there usually. Now, I'll tell you, change in marketing will cause people to change how they market. So we went when this book was produced by my partners, and I became the urban distributor of it because no one was paying attention to my community. So I said, no, they got to get this in their hands. And they had the suckers up there. Now, believe it or not, when we started here, the suckers were dum dums. So they were telling you just what they thought about you. You come into the bank, you give us your money, you dum dums. So then some of the banks have now changed it to their own logo, but the lollipops are still there. And the same company that makes the dum dums make a candy called Smartie, but they don't put the Smartie out because they don't want you smart. They're going to give you the dum dum. So that's the story behind why it says stop being a sucker. Some people get a little insulted, but it's true. If you go to the bank and the rule of 72 says if I have an interest rate of 1% and I put $1 in the bank at 1%, it's going to take 72 years before that dollar becomes 2. But the banks have your money and you're paying 10%, 12%, maybe less, but most of the time you're paying more for your credit cards, your home loans, your student loans. You're paying more money, and the bank is making. So the bank is making 9, and you're making 1. Who's winning?
Yeah,
That's
you don't
it.
have a chance.
That's it. You can't catch up that way. That's why you have to be in the mode of making your money work for you, and it can be done.
But you know what's interesting, as we started at the top of this show, why only 11 states within the entire 50 United States have it mandatory that
Hmm.
upon graduation you must have some financial literacy.
And that's one of the things that I mean, it's set for to keep the people unknowing, but also even those states that make it mandatory are teaching the students not what they need to know. They're not learning the rule of 72. What they're learning is things like how to balance a checkbook, which they don't use. They're learning, how to do simple things like maybe how to get a credit card. How they're not teaching them the fundamentals behind it. And that's where I have my problem with these schools is that we go to schools and we give the book out. This book is set up for someone who's 13 or above to be able to read this book. And I say, like, one of my friends, she has her baby read with sitting and listening to that the book, reading the book. She's not even able to count one, two, three, but she's getting read the book. Why?
And
Because
it's very well illustrated. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
yes,
it makes it easy to go through. It's not a whole lot of jargon and stuff, but and points that are illustrated. I'm telling you, when I read this book, I looked at money different,
I'm
totally
glad.
different, understanding the work, which is exactly why you're on my show. Because I
I'm
want
so glad.
everybody to be rich. Everybody should be rich. Everybody's entitled to be rich. But in our communities, we are more devastated by the lack of knowledge about the principles of how money works to enrich our lives, to
That's
be
true.
better and set our goals and our dreams and things that we want, because it is going to take money. And there is an abundance of money if you know how to
It
do what
is.
you have to do.
I was so sorry to see when businesses had the opportunity to get the PPP loan, the economic injury disaster loan, and they were not set up right. Everybody want to be in business, but everybody doesn't know how to set themselves up properly. That's why, they shy away from talking to their team. Everyone who's out here, I don't care what you have, you should have your team. You may not be able to pay for it 24 hours, 7 days a week, but you need a lawyer that you can contact. You need to have a financial advisor. You need to have an accountant that you can ask questions of. You need to have your team, your financial advisors group. Now they may overlap because there are some of us who have, like, I'm an accountant, but I'm also a financial educator and a investment advisor. So you may be able to get a lot out of one. But the thing is, you got to have them available to you, because if not, you're definitely daring to fail. You're planning to fail, and we don't need that. My goal for 2020 to 2023 is to create at least 100,000 individuals that are on the road to their millions.
That's what you call good looking out. Okay. That's what you call good looking out. We've got about 7 more minutes, but I want to make sure that everybody, first of all, knows exactly how to get in touch with you. And because of this book, I have expanded my mindset about understanding money more, how it is spent, how to save it, and why is it that we've been kind of programmed to, when we get money, that we go buy Gucci's, we buy this and that, things that everybody's making money.
But
Rappers make
you,
all this money and they spend it on jewelry.
yep,
So Jake the jeweler gets all of it. The car companies get all of it.
that's it.
I,
You
I,
got
you know,
people who are living in the projects, and I'm a project girl, so I'm not down in the projects in any way, shape, or form. But they out in the projects and they got Hummers, Mercedes. They got. I even saw, which blew my mind. Someone had a Maybach in parked on the street. I was like, oh no, paying all this money, thousands of dollars a month for something that goes down in value as soon as you drive it off the lot. But what do you look at for what you're building? How not? Why not own Mercedes stock? Why not own? You know, if you're taking your kid to Disney, I remember I had a client of mine, she took her daughter to Disney and she took penalties for taking that money out. And I said, why would you do that instead of buying her some Disney stock? Make a difference, change our mindset, you know, and that's what it is. My door is open for people to, now sometimes they don't get me, but the thing is that I have been training and still looking for folks to train. You know, we teach our children, oh, you're going to be a basketball player, you're going to be a football player, you know. What about becoming an investment advisor? We represent, as people of color, less than 1% of the financial advisors that are out here. We need more because we relate to each other.
And yet our national gross product as Black people is better than some countries around the world.
For real, we spent last year $1.7 billion. How much of it did you get? Did we have a business that they could contribute to and build? We just don't go. We know how to make it, we know how to spend it, but we don't know it's how to make it work for us. That's what's important.
Okay, so we're gonna wrap this up. I know because you were talking to some people just before coming on, but this is very important. And you know, my show is geared for metaphysics, numerology, but they also have to understand that there are other numbers that are just as important in guiding you. So I'll tell people their numbers that guide them in their days and their dates and their months and this,
That's
that,
right.
the other, but they also need to look at other sets of numbers that guide their pocketbook, guide their finance, and make their lives totally, totally better. And
We are a world of money. We are the world of numbers. You've got to take these numbers and use them. And I will tell anyone, I know I'm giving the advertisement on my own, is that
please
you've
do.
got to get a chart by Mr. Strahan. You've got to have it because I live by it. I decide when I'm going to have an appointment, how the appointment's going to go, who I'm going to talk to. I got to see, is this a good day? You know,
Yeah, yeah,
it
it helps.
works. It
Yeah.
works.
Yeah, so my whole thing is why not get a person like yourself to deal with numbers in a whole nother set of way to enrich their lives, to enrich their legacy, their family. That is just as important
That's it.
as what my key numbers are today. So
Hmm.
what I'm going to do is before we close, I'm going to make sure that people know how to get in touch with you. Okay.
Yes,
And
definitely.
explain everything again slowly so people can get this. Okay.
Definitely. And if you call my office, you can always be placed on the list because we just finished this past Tuesday. We did a financial seminar on, do you know, what's the big question? The big question is, what's your number? What is your number for retirement? People don't know you need to have a number, you know, and the minimum should be $1 million.
Good, good, good. Because it takes a lot to, and people don't save for a so-called rainy day, and the sun don't come out every day.
Does not, definitely.
Real
I
check, it
just want to
does not
thank
come
you
up
so
every
much
day.
for this opportunity to talk to your audience. And again, we got to meet again too. Remember, we got to
Oh
sit
yeah,
too.
no, no, we got some unfinished business to take care of as a result of you raising my consciousness. But what I want to do is show people the book again, so people can get to see this book. And when you go to her, write to her, and I'm going to put this again, put the banner up there. She will mail out this book. Okay, so save yourself a lot of money. That's one of the ways you can do is save yourself a whole lot of money going the other way and spending that money and save some money, but learn how money works. This was really a mind-blowing book, and it's less than I think 100 pages.
It's 124 pages. I have read it. It took me an hour and 10 minutes to read.
I know, but it was so easy to get through. It didn't seem like that much, but
That's it. And I read slow.
it was well illustrated, but you learn how to enrich your life. And everyone, all of my viewers should be entitled to all the richness that they can, because there's a science to this. And in fact, I came across a book that I'm going to share that I want people to get. So let me do this. Okay. um it was this book here.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
The Science of Getting Rich, by this guy Walter Waddles. Yeah,
Waddles.
yeah, I think so.
The
And what
Dark
it
Tower.
is, and see what people don't know was this book was written back in 1910.
Wow.
This book was written over 100 years ago, but it still sells
Very
because he
relevant.
dealt with the scientific principles of getting rich. And there is money abundance. I don't know why we think that money is very limited, but all these people got all that money and stuff like that. Money is available in every way, shape, or form, and you don't have to rob a bank to get it. Seriously.
You just got to keep your mind and use the law of attraction.
Yeah, but this is what this guy back in 1910 applies all the things that we now know as current, like mental visualization, creative visual. Back then, this book is over 100 and something years old, and
Wow.
in fact, what he did also was he wrote this other book. Um, it's called it's a trilogy, and in fact, I just ordered it: The Science of Getting Rich, The Science of Being Well, and The Science of Being Great. And it's
What?
not so much to be in front of a TV screen with lights, cameras, but the greatness within yourself.
That's
Okay.
right.
Now, for those people who claim they don't know how to read or don't like to read, I got one more thing for you. Okay. All right. The entire book of The Science of Getting Rich is available for free on YouTube.
Oh, oh
The
goodness.
entire book. It's 2 hours and 5 minutes. I've listened to the entire, I listened to the entire audio version. The Science of Getting Rich. It sounds as if that book was written just a couple of weeks ago,
Mm,
although this book was written over 100 and something years ago.
wow.
But when you're dealing with, it's like my book, my numerology book. My book, as long as there's civilization, will always sell, not because of me, but the universal principle. As long as human beings are born and walk this earth, they will be under a certain birthday, a certain sign, a certain condition, male, female, I don't care what it is. And so these are scientific laws that never go out of style. But I'm saying, please do yourself a favor. And, instead of spending 2 hours on Netflix, okay, ain't got no problems with that, do yourself a favor, learn the science of getting rich.
That's
Okay, there is a definite science to it. Listen to it 2 or 3 times as I have, and then also order this book from Jana B. Woodhouse. Okay, I'm saying it because I want everybody to who is viewing this to like, to share, subscribe, so you become rich. There is no excuse to be starving in the midst of plenty. There's none. There's absolutely none. And that's where I'm heading with this. And I was always indifferent to money. I'm not going to front, but this book gave me a whole different insight of how I look at money, how money is spent, how to make it work, understanding it. I'm nowhere near where I need to be, but compared to where I was last year, I'm at a whole different time and space. So please,
fantastic.
for those that like to read, I love reading books. The Science of Getting Rich. It's science. This is what it does. But for those of you who don't want to spend no money, okay, or you claim you can't read, okay, just go to YouTube and type in your search bar The Science of Getting Rich and listen to the audiobook as against watching some TV tonight. Get some spirit about you, and then call my very, very special guest, Jana B. Woodhouse. Okay. Thank you.
Fantastic.
So, Yana, I want to thank you so much. This was great. This was great. Some people, I know people like to get readings and stuff. You'll get read another time. Right now, you'll need to get this kind of reading where you can learn how to be a wealthier person, and not just to get a Maybach to park in front of your building, okay? But to get, but to
Please
get it,
don't.
so you can understand how money works. And so and this is one of the reasons why. Why would a guy Drake that makes all those millions of dollars gamble 20 million away on this, 250 million thousand on that? I mean, really, really. And so obviously he hasn't had no financial education.
And
So
also, one thing before I know we got to go, but I just want to say we have to get a relationship with our money. We don't have one. That's why we give it away so easily. You think about it, every time you when you get paid, you don't touch it. When you spend it, you don't touch it. You know, when you die, you don't get to touch it either. So therefore you never have a relationship. Get a relationship. Cash that check. Take that money out. Touch it. Get to know it. So you won't give it away so easily. I tell folks most relationships are made in that bedroom. Go get your check, throw it on the bed, wallow in it, get to know that money. Then maybe you won't give it away so fast. So that's just my little hint and tidbit.
well, I would say, based upon your experience of doing this for many, many years and many lectures, because I mean, if people look, and by the way, can you give us a little background before we get off so people know your credentials? You were one of the first sisters on Wall Street. Okay.
Yes,
Can
I
you
was the
give that
first to
story,
trade.
please?
Yes, I was the first African American woman to trade on Wall Street as a full service broker. I have had my accounting business since I was 19. It's been 44 years. Retired when I was 38 from Wall Street and started working in other businesses. But my major focus has been to bring financial literacy to our community and talk to our folks. I have my undergrad from Fordham University. I have my MBA from Fordham. And then I have my DD, which is the Doctor of Divinity from the University of Religious Sciences. So
Amen, sister.
I'm a metaphysician to the heart.
Amen. That's all I can tell you.
Thank
But I
you.
want to give people an idea. So I am in earnest. So for those of you that you couldn't get your readings, you'll have plenty of time. But I wanted you to get to know another set of numbers that will guide you. So no matter what kind of reading you got, if you ain't got no money to do the things you need to do, it don't mean squat. All right. So what I'm saying is do yourself a favor. Please make sure you go and order her book. Okay, and this is her banner, so you have no excuse not to get in touch. Take a screenshot, take your camera, take a picture of it, whatever. Make sure you call her or write to her or go to her website. There is no excuse at all. Okay, and finally, about the science of anything you do, I'm telling you, since people are kind of taking lazy now and whatnot, and they said the reading level is fourth grade, go here. All right. And when you listen to the audio, it's 2 hours and 5 minutes, but is it worth it? Yes. And so to know that this book was written over 100 years ago and it still stands the test of time, that it's still selling. Okay. I'm saying that you maybe need to think about that very well. So, Jana B. Woodhouse, thank you. God bless you.
Thank you
That's all
so
I
much.
can say. This was enjoyable. I'll
I'm
have you
so
back again.
thankful.
We'll see. And they've got some of these symbols up here I don't understand, but it really makes no difference. Okay, not to me. All righty. But
Well,
anyway,
also, if you get a chance, you can also catch me on Facebook also on Thursdays at 6 p.m. on Access Wealth Nation, the Soul City Network. I
yes,
try to
and you
give
have
you
your
the
own
check.
show. You have
Yeah,
your own show,
I'm
right?
a check up to the neck up. Got to get it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ayana,
Have a
thank you so
blessed
much,
night.
dear. You have a blessed day. All right. Thank you. So, everybody, I want to thank you very, very much. And so, yes, I'll find out what these symbols mean that I see on the screen here in a second. Some of it, I don't know, but it really makes no difference. The point is, this is for you. I want us to stop starving in the midst of plenty. I want us to be able to enjoy all the fruits of this planet that we are entitled to. There are no excuses at all for us not to do very well financially. And I'm not just talking about it's nice to get nice things, but I think if you understand the whole power of getting rich and the psychology behind it and the science behind it, I think you start looking at your money totally different. And I got a feeling that we will be far, far ahead of the game because the money talks and all the other nonsense walks, as they say. All righty. So with that, everybody, I will look forward to joining you on Wednesday. Okay. And we're going to have a guest because I'm scheduled to be in the city of DC this weekend. We'll find out what that's about. Everybody, have a blessed day.